Hi guys, welcome in. I haven't done a live show in quite a long while, so it's going to be a fun one today. If you sign in, thank you so much, and do leave in the comments anything that you might have regarding property price trends up, down, or if you think that this latest measure by government is too excessive or not. So today, what we'll cover a few things. Is government too concerned about rising HDB prices? Next, we'll cover is what exactly do these new cooling measures impact, and in my opinion, lastly, what could happen to Singapore property market. But before I get started, quick story. I was speaking to my parents-in-law today, and they asked me, "Hey, yeah, what do you think about prices right now?" So I did a curious check on Property Guru, which you can see transaction history over there, right? I realized their blog, which is the five-room flat, has $2 million transaction already. Wow! So the price that they paid, 800,000 is really worth it. Or rather, it reinforces why government has recently created this cooling measures. Because many of you out there, if you are looking for a house, you're complaining house prices are too much. Or if you're looking to upgrade, you're fearing that prices are running way too much. So different people have different perspective. But government's job in a lot of ways is always to make sure that new couples can settle down. I think that's a primary objective. So any comments? Be the first to leave it in. Because today we're talking everything about HDB. If you're buying a house, leave your comments. If you have a feel of what this cooling measure is, leave in the comment section below. Now let me kick things started because when we have this discussion, we need context to it, correct? So the first part is why is government creating this cooling measure? Is there a need for it or not? If you see what has happened in Australia, New Zealand, you realize that there's a property bubble over there, Vancouver included. But Singapore's property has risen, but in my opinion, it's still not a bubbly state. Government has actually, in the last few years, been protecting the masses, doing the right thing to prevent foreigners from buying and stuff. And therefore, our property prices, while it appreciated, hasn't really been such a bubbly state. In 1999, when there was Asian financial crisis, there wasn't that many measures. People were speculating in properties, and it went up and it crashed. Trading go up is good, but the problem is many people get caught in a crash, and that's where families lose their life savings, families get into big serious trouble. So rather than creating a bubble and try to let it crash, the better way is always to moderate it. So the question is why? Why did government create this measure? Quite simple. If you haven't seen the latest numbers of HDB $1 million flat, let me ask you that. How many do you think there are already for this year itself? Simple answer. Over here, you realize that there are more $1 million flats in the first 9 months, as I mentioned. Two in particular were in my parents-in-law's flat. 9 months, 2022 has surpassed 2021, which was a record in itself already. So I left the answer over there. This year, we've already had 266 number of $1 million flats as of September. Wow. I've shared previously also. I believe we could easily hit $1,000 million flats in 2030. Why so? Nothing secret. It's just simply if you think what is happening now to foreign flats and foreign flats, and you compound it with 2%, just 2%, you realize that a lot of them would hit that $1 million tier, and 1,000 of them is just not the majority. You're going to be minority, but I think $1,000 million flats in 2030 is almost a certainty in my opinion. So still waiting the first comment. Do be the first one to share our thoughts as I give a run through on what I've prepared over here. So next, what is exactly happening with these cooling measures? Whether you like them or not, they are here to stay and very abrupt again. So later I'll share with you some stories which I found of people who got stuck in this in-between phase. What exactly is, first comment come in, John, thank you so much. Fiat currency is losing value rapidly. Wait till we see property crash. I am not such an optimist on property prices, but I also don't believe there's a crash. Simply because if we go into a bubble, there's simply no need for a crash. It might drop and drag for years. That's my best guess. But Singapore currency is one of the best. Fiat currency over here, John, fiat currency, Sing dollar, have absolute faith in it. It's appreciated against US dollar. It's appreciated against British pounds, which right now is in 3-4. So back to the point again. What are we seeing that is really the key part that we have? Over here, less loans is the first thing that I'll break it down in simple terms. Less loan, with these new measures, you cannot take that much loan. You have to down pay a bit more. I'll touch on the loan to valuation model. You cannot buy a HDB for 15 months if you have a private property. So this impacts downgraders. But again, the question is, do we care? Because in my circle of friends, I really haven't seen that many people downgrading. I've seen a lot of people upgrading, buying from EC to a full condo, buying HDB to a full condo. I've seen a lot of people upgrading. I think for your circle of friends also. So downgraders, I guess they are really targeting people who are selling out from en blocs, retirees and stuff. But again, they will to see John again. Depreciate against type again. That's true. That's true. Type is getting very expensive indeed. Over here we see I've actually came across this because I was doing a case for a private client of mine. And I realized that even Boon Keng 5-room flats now are commanding more than $1 million. Even been seeing Property Guru and stuff on numbers, you might get shocked. These are just 5-room flats, 5-room flats. Okay, 5 room, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 5-room flats, and they're commanding more than $1.1 million. This is asking price, may not close there, but that goes to show how pervasive it is. The bigger problem, as government has really realized, is that it used to be only core central region. Tiong Bahru, Redhill, Queenstown. Queenstown always had that. Binchang always had $1 million flats. But right now, even Kallang area, even Woodlands, mansionettes and stuff, they are all seeing $1 million flats. So government, in my opinion, wants to delay this process because $1 million seems a lot, compared to all of us. If they can postpone it to a normalization, I think they've won that battle already. Because people need to get used to it. We are so used to seeing $1 million condo, but $1 million HDB is getting more and more frequent thing. And in my opinion, the cooling measures are exactly to target that. So, quick story again, where have people been caught? There's a story that came on Straits Times. Mr. Patrick Yu sold his 1-room condo with the intention to buy a 5-room HDB resale. And after he sold off a few weeks ago, this measure came in. Don't know whether to feel bad for him or not, but these kind of things happen, especially if you sold a flat and you have in-between period. My question was, if only he bought one on hand or have exercised an option, why was there a 3-week lag or so? Maybe he has his own circumstance. But unfortunately, he's one of this minority group. I'm sure HDB is open for people to appeal also. The bigger question again is, are cash-rich private property downgraders coming into the market, beating up HDB prices? En bloc sellers. We do know a lot of en blocs taking place last year. This year, en bloc seems to have cooled a bit. But there are indeed retirees that came from en bloc. They are willing to pay $1 million, $1.4 million even for Henderson 50th story flats and stuff. En bloc sellers are flush with cash, it's true. But again, the question is they are still able to buy flat if they're above 55, correct? And the clause is 4-room and below. So they used to come to the markets and buy the best HDB 5-room, coughing it out $1.4 million full cash. So I think that's where government is trying to tighten. Although I don't have that many in my circle of friends, I hope government has the right data and I trust them to do so. So there are indeed possible en bloc sellers coming to the market with $1.4 million easily to down pay a house, and that pushes prices up. Question is, do you agree that this is a need to target them so that they don't come and inflate? So that they want to go and buy a 4-room flat that may not cost $1 million, don't push that $1 million number too much, or they buy a new condo. Let me throw out some experts' opinion, because this is a space whereby it's going to affect each and every one of us. Later, I'll explain towards the tail end what I think is the conclusion on the property market sentiment. The experts have said this one in particular cannot buy HDB flat for 15 months. What he's mentioned, this by Edmund Tai's research consultant, Mr. Lam, he's mentioned that with this cooling period, there could be an impact. But again, people who are above 55 may not be in that situation. So there is an exit clause. Unless people bought the property and it's en bloc that's less than 55, then they cannot come in the market. But those people typically can still take on loan. I guess they might be upgrading also. Another thing mentioned by this expert, Tricia Song by CERE, Head of Research, she's mentioned that it could actually support rental market. And as we know, rental markets have appreciated quite a lot over the last few months. So this could create even more pressure on the rental market. Experts should be especially concerned there could be more competition coming on board. Other experts' views, these are PropNext CEO, Mr. Ismail Ghaffar. He's mentioned that 0.5% increment, okay, this part revolves around less loan, cannot buy HDB for 15 months. Less loan is because the floor rate the government used to calculate or impose on banks to calculate how much you can borrow has been increased from 3.5 to 4%. If you don't know what that means, it means you can loan less. Lah. If you used to be able to loan $1 million, the impact is you could probably loan 5% less, 950,000 with the same income. Clear about it? So about a 5% net impact. That's what I see commonly mentioned across all experts. So this could really impact EC owners. This is by Mr. Ismail Ghaffar of PropNet. Because again, ECs are all above the $1 million mark. If people's budgets are squeezed down, those that can afford are buying landed, buying condos. Those that are buying EC maybe in this space that they could squeeze. So that is one thing that's mentioned. And this waiting period, provided they sell again, these are concerns about this waiting period, whether it's applicable or not. More information on less loans. So this is another comment by Emmentice Research, Mr. Lam again. Private property, 2 million home quantum is increasingly common. So I don't know if you've seen that or not. In my circle of friends, I do see that quite a bit. Those that are in city area, like over there, selling residences, Avenue South, these are easily $2 million. So I've known people who are going to move into these properties quite a bit. So it is true, $2 million flats in condos are getting common. We don't want that in HDB. I think that will create too much of a uproar in people. So what are your thoughts? Again, leave them in the comment section. It will be better if we do an interactive discussion. And based on calculations, just I mentioned, this creates a 5% loss in terms of purchasing power. So again, previously can loan 1 million, now can only loan 950,000. That could create a cooling effect because people cannot bid that much really, right? So loan less and down pay more. This touches on the next point. Now down payment for HDB previously was 90%. Last cooling measure dropped to 85%. Now they cut it down to 80% only. What is the objective? I don't know if you've been following my main channel. I'm actually putting my property on the market. I'm also asking a cash over valuation. That is the norm already. So I'm trying to sell market value. I'm not selling on the cheap. There's no urgency to do that. So cash over valuation, what happens is if the property is say 500,000, and then the valuation comes with 450,000, the person needs to pay 50,000 in cash. That's where cash over valuation happens. Now, what is the implication of calling more down payment? Which means if previously people can use their money 15% down payment, they can pay cash over valuation, right? But right now, if they squeeze 20% down payment, they may not have that much ability to make COV. So I think that's the objective of increasing the down payment from 85% all the way, down payment, sorry, from 15% all the way to 20%. So this might really impact COV. I agree with this portion. So anyone selling house over here, if you have concerns, do leave in the comment section. For myself, I actually asked my representative selling a flat. Mine is a small house, so hopefully the impact is only on those $1 million HDB flats that are a bit more. Now coming to here, I've read through some thoughts on what it could impact. So that's how I really want to share with you my thoughts. Before I get there, let me show you what has happened in the previous down cycle. How about it? You realize in the previous down cycle, markets picked out in 2013. Then it started to cool down. You can check the charts. Picked out in 2013 after it ran out for 4 or 5 years. Then it cooled down all the way to 2016. What happened in those cooling measures? You know, a lot of advertisements always say, cooling measures won't impact property prices. May not be true. What cooling measures impact is transaction rate over zealous transactions. When transactions rate falls, there is a causal effect. That also causes property price expectations to drop. Owners start dropping their sky-high ridiculous asking prices. They are willing to settle for something lesser. You start to see that cooling effect gradually coming. Take note, when property cycles are slow. They take years, not like equity markets drop in 3 months, 30%. Equity property markets are slow. You see the transaction volume drop, you see the price start to drop. That's why I sold out on PropNext. Because once transaction volume drops, you realize that commissions paid to agencies are less. But more important to consumers like us, you realize that the price trend starts to moderate and then starts to tail down. I don't think there'll be a crash, simply because we didn't go a bubble phase. But history has shown that also when transactions start to go up, especially in 2017, you realize that the price starts to climb. So again, what government has targeted is very smart. They are aiming on cooling measures that would really cause people to loan less, down pay more, cannot buy HDB. Cannot buy HDB, transaction less, but buy private. Slow down your pace, don't get too rigorous, don't keep trading property. Once they get this in place, I think it reinforces my thesis that property prices will moderate in 2023. I cannot have a crystal ball puts a number, but I do think 2023 we are going to see a lower number. It has, in my opinion, peaked already. I am not sure if I'm right or wrong. Leave your thoughts also in the comment sections. Whether you think property price trends will go up 5-10% next year, or you start to come down like what I guess. So that, thank you for watching to here. Hopefully I've clarified a few things. Loans can take less. The base rate is increased means you loan less, and then less people come into 5-room HDB that bumps up the $1 million transaction volume. So next year, hopefully prices come down, new buyers can buy, and if you're one of them, you should celebrate. With that, I'll sign off. Thank you for watching to here. If you are watching this on recorded, leave your questions on how, if you are stuck in that situation. I think I can deep dive, and maybe you can pull up, a new case study to run for next show. Thank you as always. Thanks, John. Thank you for showing your support, and I'll see you next time. Take care and